Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's section of reads. This should be on the YouTube channel James13 Wicca in case you're seeing it somewhere else. The dice and decks I'm using are going to be listed below. Other than that, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. All right, and without further ado, let's get into your choice. Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Virgo? Virgo. Okay. Are you not ready to let go? Whatever this is, in the beginning, I don't know how far, but in the beginning for sure, I don't feel like I have a lot of support with this. But it's also coming through like you don't need that either. There's a lot of like people doing other things, people off doing their own thing. I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of support or a lot of backup on this. It's pretty much what you want. And there's something that I feel like germinates. Germinates? I don't know if I said that right. Definitely something you want that I feel like you're also at conflict with. I want that, but that doesn't fit. For something you want that doesn't fit. It's almost like if you live in a city and you want to own a horse ranch or something, or it's kind of like being afraid of heights but wanting to be a pilot. It feels like that to me. It feels kind of like that. It doesn't have to be that literal where you physically couldn't even if you tried, not like that. But whatever it is, to you it seems like it doesn't fit, but you want it. Something. And it's just, it returns back to your brain every now and then. There's a dream or fantasy. I don't think it's a fantasy, it's a dream, but you may treat it like it's a fantasy. And it's one of those things where I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't allow myself to do that. Maybe you're an accountant and you want to be like an artist of some sort. And you're like, oh, that's not rational for me. I can't do that for whatever reason. But it keeps coming back. And it's like, I would really like to, but I can't do that. I keep getting that coming around. Like, I can't do that. But it's one of those things where you try to let go of it, but it's still there. It's been there for years, whatever it is. So there's other value here. Other value. There is other value here. It doesn't have to be stuck. And you don't have to make physical movement forward, like buying things. Like, you know, if you want to, I don't know, if you want to be an artist, you don't have to like buy a studio. But there's something about like bringing it in at least halfway. Maybe you've always dreamt about being a writer, but you're like, yeah, but I can't think of any good stories. Or you're like, yeah, but I don't have the time to do that. Or something. Make time. You don't have to go in full board. Maybe you want to be a writer. Maybe there's something here where they're like, look at like. So it's almost like my father always wanted to own a farm. Maybe you can't own a full farm, but could you own a mini farm? To do that, what type of changes would need to happen? Just letting yourself go down that route. So like instead of having like 50 cows and a bunch of pigs and some goats and whatever else, if you had the right facility, if you bought the right facility, could you have maybe one cow It may be like 5 chickens to start and just see how that goes and just see where that takes you. Is that realistic? Is that a possibility? These cards are like saying, minimize it as much as realistically possible. And is that really doable for you? Are these things a possibility? Could you add into this situation, maybe not at superstar level, but maybe enough to get into it to enjoy it? And typically Virgo makes good on things. Like, things you do are practical. Typically Virgo does a lot of practical things. You'll find practical applications for these things. I remember one person that was a Virgo, actually, and they liked art but didn't think they could do it. But then they got into like doing murals for people and doing like little craft show stuff. And it's something they kept doing, and they did a little bit every week. It was something they enjoyed. It became a practical thing for them. It made sense for them. They couldn't be that, living the life of an artist that they dreamt about, but they added it into their life in a way that brought them satisfaction. I think they also were like, I don't know if they took courses or if they read books or something, but they did increase their knowledge. I don't remember how they did that. I don't know if they watched certain videos or how they did it. It was a long time ago. There's a possibility for healing and for you to be happier, but to like find a different way into the subject. This reading is saying if it keeps coming back, it's coming back for a reason. This is going to add value to your life and others. This is worth it. You may be surprised at how far this can take you, but until you get these first little couple steps in, which you're comfortable with, you won't be able to see where it really could take you. It's slow and steady wins the race on this one. Even if it only goes a couple steps forward, if you're enjoying your life more, that by itself is worth it. Again, I don't feel the support around you. So this feels very much like it's a private thing for you, and you doing it on your terms in a way that makes you comfortable. This might be very private. Maybe something that you get up an hour or two earlier in the morning and people don't realize you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're keeping it off to the side where they don't even see it. I keep going towards the artistic because I see somebody like making their own jewelry. I know this one person is extremely talented, and they do a lot of stuff with metal and stuff. They're very talented. Their partner's very supportive with it though, so it's fine. But I know that it's like they do it when they feel like it's appropriate, when they have a moment to do it. I don't know why we throw that, but it could be stuff like that. This is your card. Now, when this comes in for your reading, this is things lining up to where you want them. If you start going down this path, you're going to find some lucrative connections to it. I don't know what you're going towards, but whatever it is, you will find something lucrative. It may be even just like, teaching other people what you've learned. It could be that simple, especially when, there's so much social media out there where you just put out videos, and just for having your videos watched, you can get some kickback for that. So it could be very simple like that. I know people on YouTube, because I'm on YouTube obviously, who just share their interests online, and that brings in some cash to where they can keep doing it. And whatever it is you like, you just talking about what you like could bring in a lot of opportunity. There's this part where it really starts lining up and you start feeling good about it. This can be a very secretive card, but it doesn't have to be. Can we get a little bit better with this? There's this tipping point where it's like you're enjoying it, and then you're realizing you could make more from it. This is the difference between enjoying it for enjoying it for what it is, versus making it a vocation, which I know a lot of people, they like what they like until they make it a job. And then once they make it a job, it can change it. I know people who are artists who love being an artist, but they hate working for other people. Even though they like being an artist and doing artistic stuff, the creativity that they're looking for that's not how they're making money. It's just a heads up. Be careful of that. Whatever this is, identify what it is you love about it and why you love it. Is it because you get to do what you want, or because you just like doing the subject no matter how it is? Keep that in mind. I keep thinking of a baker too, I know. And I think they gave up the bakery thing. Even though they love baking, they didn't like the economics of it, and like, well, I like making this, but it doesn't sell. And these other things, I don't really like making them. They're boring to make, but everybody buys them. And I remember they didn't like they didn't like the economics of it. And I think they stepped away from it. It's about you liking what you want. This is supposed to add emotional value, not just tangible value. You got to make the decision that's right for you. There's also like this in and out energy. The success that will come towards you, it does feel like it fluctuates with the Wheel of Fortune. You can make that work for you, especially if you figure out like maybe it's like it's seasonal, or it's kind of like, you know, depending on what the weather is. Like where I am, when I was younger, there was a lot of snow in the winter. There's not as much all the time now. Now we have some winters that there's not that much snow. And if you, for example, have a business that's dependent on the snow, that can be a problem. There's something here where there's a random energy. Whatever the random energy is, I don't know why this would skip past you, but they're just highlighting. Identify what's random here, especially if you're like, I don't know why that's random, but it is. It's almost like if it's something where sometimes people buy a lot, some people don't. If you have one of those businesses and you're like, I'm not really sure why people buy this and people don't buy that. I like this better, but people don't buy it. I don't really care for that, but people love that hand over fist. I don't get it. Identify it for what it is and make sure that you add that into your plan. I don't know why you would skip. It seems like Virgo would pick up on that quite quickly, but for some reason, if you get overexcited, it might slip right past you. I don't know what's going on here. But also, again, what are you enjoying? Are you still enjoying it if you do what other people like versus what you like? It's a big piece of this. I keep getting like split time, because it does seem like whatever this is, money comes from it. You end up getting some money out of it. And this reminds me of like people it's been a while, but there was a stint of time where I felt like I kept getting a lot of these readings where people would divide their income. They had their main job, their 9 to 5, if you will, and then they had like a secondary job, like for example doing YouTube, for example, which allowed them to pull back one way or the other if one side got to be a little bit too much. I get with the Two of Wands, I feel split time. I don't feel like it's a random quick decision. I feel like there's split time here. And it changes based on the need, is what I'm getting between this. And this is like allowing yourself to try things, but also like not being overly critical. That might be a challenge. Allowing yourself to learn, allowing yourself to flow with it, and trying not to be overcritical against yourself could be hard. If that's a challenge for you, I recommend setting up reminders, either like visual ones you can physically see, and I would change those reminders. I would make that like, for example, if you have a reminder you have up in wherever your work area is, I would make it like, you know, on the first of the month, I'm going to take that down and rewrite it. Or I'm going to switch something else out that is the same message but in a different view. Because if you get used to just seeing it, you're not going to see it, if that makes sense. It's like when you have something on the wall for so long, you forget it's there, even though it's constantly there. Until somebody says, oh, I like that clock. You're like, oh, yeah, me too. I mean, I don't pay attention to it very often, but yeah, it's there. If you have reminders, especially visual reminders, make it a pattern. Like in the first of the month, for example, take down the old one, put up something new, same word, you know, same message, but something different there to look at. So it kind of catches your eye, like, oh yeah, that's different. Oh yeah, oh, that's why I put that there to remind me that. Stuff like that. I think that's it. All right. I'm going to shut that down there. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4 astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.